in the spiritual essence of forgiveness, the soul has a gift of free will. Everything begins with a thought. We live by universal law. If we move in that direction, we will live by universal law, because it's always for the higher good. Giving and receiving creates karma. People think that karma is negative. No, it's not. It can be negative or positive. That's the energy. There has to be a balance in the energy. It's what we attach, the values we attach to it, that gets us all messed up. Because we have a choice. We're either going to respond or we're going to react. So when you get into the spiritual essence of forgiveness, it's sort of in conflict with what Christianity tells us. Because it tells us we have to forgive our enemies. We have to forgive people that do us harm. We have to forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive until we're exhausted forgiving. And we still don't feel any better. So my question was, so what's that all about? You're telling everybody to forgive everybody, and yet you're still carrying the trauma, the hurt. You're still carrying it, even though you spend all this time forgiving the person, the perpetrator, the offender, whatever you want to call them. And I've had this conversation with people. Oh, well, you must forgive. No, I mustn't do anything if I don't want to. My question is, what is your investment in hurting me? There's a couple of things that go on a higher realm. And that is, nothing can happen without your permission. It took me a while to wrap that around my brain, my physical brain. There's another brain somewhere operating. Your mind is universal. Most of us cut off the universe to our minds. Mine happens to be open up to it. So it was like, so if nothing can happen without my permission, how do I give my permission? You give it on an inner conscious level, a super conscious level, a lower conscious level, a physical conscious level. That's how we give it. When I was working, because I think this is an important little story, when I was working with people living with addiction and HIV and AIDS, and I did groups. And I just threw it out there. I wanted to see the reaction. Nothing can happen to you without your permission. So one of the guys that was in there says, oh yeah, I gave somebody permission to shoot me in the leg. Well, actually you did. And he goes, well, how could I? Why would I want to do that? I said, well, where were you when you got shot in the leg? I was standing on this corner downtown, blah, 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 blah. And I said, oh, were you in somebody else's territory? Because he also dealt in drugs. He goes, yeah. I said, that's how you gave permission. You walked in thinking that you could get their territory. I said, they gave you a warning shot in the leg. Of course, he ended up in prison, recuperating with his leg, but he got it. He got the message that he never, ever, ever thought in his consciousness that he was given permission for somebody else to shoot him, to say, you're not supposed to be in my territory. I just thought that was an interesting story, because he was able to relate to it and had no problem admitting that he was in the wrong place. And that's how we do it. Sometimes we do it consciously. People ask me, well, how do you deal with child molesters? Because I've dealt with them. How do you deal with the victims of child molesters? Well, that's a very complicated question, and I don't have the time to go into all the details around that, nor would I ever blame any child, or that's not what I do, and everybody is responsible for what they do. We're doing one of two things constantly in our life. We're either creating it or inflicting it. We're creating the healing or we're inflicting the damage. And that's part where we have to become aware. When it comes to, let's say, somebody is creating karma. And let's say the molested child, they torture somebody, they murder them, they rape them, they do all of these things. They're creating karma. They're creating karma going against somebody's free will. Because some souls are much younger, some souls are much stronger, where they're able to resist. Some are too much full of fears, where they don't know what to do. But the thing about forgiveness, my question would be, why would you want to get into the loop of constant forgiveness for someone that did some real damage to you? That'd be my question. And my answer is to that, the answer I got was, when somebody has done some grievous towards you and you're told to forgive them, by forgiving them, you're re-injuring yourself all over again, because you're taking on their energy and they don't have to do anything about it. They don't have to do anything about what they've done. It's taken the responsibility from them of what they have done. We are solely responsible for what we do. What we do to others, what we do to ourselves. That's who we have to forgive, is ourselves. If somebody's commit murder, or somebody commit murder towards somebody that I love, I'm not going to forgive them. I'm going to hold them responsible. Religion teaches to forgive. If that works for you, I say, great. Tell me how it works for you so I can learn something. I think it's great if it does work for you. But what religion has done, it has created that dependency that we become very comfortable with. And we put it all on there. We put it all back on God. Why did God let this happen? Well, the God or the goddess didn't let it happen because free will plays into it. But the universal law, the promise not to interfere with free will. If we lived by the universal law, we would do it for the higher good, not for what's going to bring us down or what's going to create that negative energy. So think about when somebody is telling you to forgive. That's the only way you find peace. I want to know all the people that found peace by forgiving something atrocious that somebody else inflicted upon you. We all have a part in it. We all have responsibility. It's our responsibility to see how do we forgive ourselves if we have committed atrocities from past lives to this life. Because oftentimes we carry them over with us. We carry the guilt with us. We carry the absolute decisions we made in past lives. We carry the patterns that becomes blocks. We carry the fears that becomes blocks from really discovering who we are. So it baffles my mind how forgiveness works unless we take responsibility for what we do. I'm not going to take the responsibility for somebody else. I most certainly am not going to do that. You do something egregious towards me, I'm sorry, you're not going to get forgiveness from me. I'm going to hold you responsible. And see what you do with that.
If you enjoy listening to my audio, please like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, email me your concerns and questions at omenacenter777@gmail.com. Call me at 860-871-6076. Please leave a message for an appointment and someone will get back to you in 24 hours. Thank you.